Let's do it. Oh my gosh. You guys, you have an All-American in the room with you right now, and she's looking for another one of those this year. She's still playing in college. She was actually just ranked number 10 in the nation. I think that was D1 softball. They did those
Yeah.
rankings. I'll talk about it a little bit later about if you feel pressured, with these rankings, or if it's just another season to ball out and do your thing. But everybody, welcome Erin Coffel to the room. What I want her to do to start right here, right now, is one, while she's sharing a little bit about herself, can you guys write in the chat box where you're from so she can get an idea of where you guys are located? We have some Midwest people. We've got some people on the West Coast, East Coast, Southern states. We got them all.
Dang,
So
that's awesome.
I know. It's really fun. Erin, take us away. Take us to younger Erin and what she looked like growing up in
Yeah.
softball.
Yeah. So, my name's Erin. I'm from Bremen, Indiana. It's a really, really small town, like 30 minutes south of Notre Dame for you Indiana people. I went to a really small high school. I was a 2A high school. I had like 100 people in my grade, so really small compared to some high schools. I played for Indiana Thunder growing up. Actually, started way back before that. I started playing t-ball when I was like 5 or 6. I don't know. I have some pictures my mom took of me, and they're epic, like embarrassing pictures.
Yeah, we got to see those.
Oh yeah. And so I started playing t-ball when I was like 5 or 6, and then I just kept playing. I have 2 older brothers, and so you know how that is if you all have older brothers. They're a pain sometimes, but I think they're the reason I kind of am who I am today. Anyway, so I grew up playing every single sport in the book: football, basketball, soccer, swimming, softball. Softball was actually one of the last sports that I kind of got into for real. Um, I started playing for our local rec league when I was like 3rd grade, maybe. So that's kind of where my love of the game started to really grow, I think. So after that, I kind of was, getting on. I like to work out like with my brothers and stuff, and I don't think girls my age, like in 3rd grade, especially in Bremen, really did that much. So I was like starting to get better and better and better. Um, and I was in 5th grade, I think. That's when I was like a step ahead of people, and it was kind of dangerous for me to be playing with them. So I tried out for the Indiana Thunder, and like 12U, I believe. And I played for them for 3 or 4 years, and that's when I was like, okay, like that's where my dream for college softball kind of started. So it was a little bit later, I would say. I was like 12 or so. And then from there, I went to Indiana Magic Gold, and I played for them for 7 years. So, and that's where I started to get looked at by college coaches, and we can talk about all that stuff later if you guys want. But and now I'm here. I got recruited by Kentucky. They were my first school to ever look at me, and I was like, say yes to the dress. I'm here. So we're here.
Beautiful. Awesome. Just so you guys know, while Erin's talking, well, you guys were writing down where you're from: Nebraska, Indiana, Crown Point, Indiana, Maryland, a lot of Indiana kids.
Oh yeah.
And that's where Erin's from. So, even if I just like that there's a lot of Midwest kids, and there's nothing like, I love the fact that we have West Coast. I love the fact that we have
Mhm.
Hawaii here as well. But like, Erin, can you speak upon like the fact that we don't have great weather most of the year to be practicing outside,
Mhm.
but like you had this goal to get really good. What did your training look like growing up, especially in like a colder state?
Yeah. So I was pretty fortunate that my dad actually got his own hitting facility in our small town of Bremen. So I was pretty fortunate. It was like in the back of a factory, like super janky, but it worked. So I was fortunate enough to be able to hit in there, 5 or 6 days a week. And then, but also at the same time, like down here in Kentucky, like we just got 5 to 6 inches of snow. So you have to kind of put it into perspective a little bit. So just because we're from Indiana doesn't mean that shouldn't limit us to how great we can be compared to like California kids like you guys, where you guys can get out on the dirt, all year round. So it's tough, but if you really, really want to do it, you'll find ways to do it. I remember me and my dad all the time, like in our living room, we used to take tennis balls and he would just roll me tennis balls for ground balls since we couldn't get out on the dirt. So you just have to find different ways to be great, in my opinion. So if it's throwing the ball off the wall and your parents are yelling at you, sorry mom, sorry dad, just don't break anything, right? So that's kind of what I had to do. You just kind of got to make things up along the way, and you can't make excuses for yourself. So just because
Awesome.
it's cold out, go out, maybe go on a little run, go on a little jog, go play in the snow, go be a kid. So
Yeah. And like, do you think like the influence of your brothers had influence on you just being an athlete, just growing up playing and messing around with them?
definitely. I mean, it was from going outside and like having wiffle ball tournaments and wrestling inside and running around the house. Most definitely. I think honestly, they're the ones that kind of sparked my interest to just like be active and go outside because that's one of my favorite things to do now. So I love doing just random stuff outside. Like as a kid, we had a roof that you could throw stuff on, and this is something else I would do during the summer. If no one could throw me like pop flies, like I'd chuck balls onto the roof and like anticipate where they're gonna land at. So that's just random stuff that I did as a kid. And hopefully my parents wouldn't yell at me. So yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Um, so think about younger you, like you said you were 12 you when you wanted to play in college. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's kind of when it started to, yeah.
Did you like go to a game or like see, elite softball on TV? Like
Mhm.
what sparked that for you?
So every spring break, we went to Madeira Beach, which is in Florida, and we would every spring break we'd make it a ritual to go to a Florida softball game.
Mm,
So we made sure we always caught a series, and I still have pictures like from every year that we went. And my dream school was to go to Florida. So that's kind of where it like started to grow. And I never really watched softball on TV that much. I don't think it was on as much as it is now. So I think that, taking the opportunity to do that every single year, because I guess I just never really went to watch Notre Dame, because I guess at that age it wasn't like big or anything like that. I did go to a couple Notre Dame softball camps, but that was for fun. So yeah, I think the yearly Florida trip really sparked it for me.
mm, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So because Florida was the dream school, this is
Hmm.
kind of like, so my dream school was Notre Dame, which is kind of funny
Hmm.
because like neither of us went to those like dream schools. But
Yeah.
I always say like me wanting to play at Notre Dame and going to their camps and getting elite hitting lessons so that I could like, be one of the elite hitters in the state. Like the pursuit of Notre Dame is what kind of opened the doors for me to kind of
Correct.
the other colleges. Do you feel like it was similar for you, or like what about Florida? Like what changed to help you find Kentucky?
Yeah, so as I was started to get like older and get recruited by like other colleges, um, Florida never really became an option for me. They never really came and recruited me and stuff like that. So it kind of got shoved out of the picture, and then other schools started to filter in. And I was like over the edge excited, when Kentucky like first reached out. I went to one of their camps and they weren't looking at me before that, and then they noticed me from one of those camps, and that's when my like interest really like I was like, oh, okay, it's not just Florida, there's other schools, programs in the country that are super good that are closer to me. So I think that kind of helped as well. Just noticing that Florida maybe isn't an option right now, so I have to, be smart and narrow it down to schools that are interested in me, because I don't want to go to a school that's not interested in me. I want a school that wants the best for me. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, you kind of get that feeling, right? Like when
Yes.
school really, really wants you and you like feel wanted, it's like
Yeah.
there's nothing that compares.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. good. There's some athletes here, and you young ones, like, you don't have to know what you want later on. I just want you to have this opportunity to learn from a really good player that's from the Midwest. She's also a really good hitter. We'll talk about hitting here in a bit, because that's, you know, what we do here is the Virtual Hitting Academy. But there are some athletes here that like really want to be in your shoes one day, and like they want to play. Maybe their goal is to play in college. Maybe their goal is, you know, to play for Team USA. You've had an opportunity to wear Team USA on your chest. Like, you've done those things. What does it truly take to one, be a college athlete, two, be asked to be on Team USA? Have you ever thought about this? Like, what all went into this?
It kind of all just like came at once with the Team USA thing. But I think the biggest thing for me is, and I feel like the way I can like separate myself from other people is I truly like love what I do. Like, I love playing softball. And I don't know if that's the same for you guys. You could love it because your parents love it. You could love it because you love it. But to get where I am today and to get the opportunities that I have today, I think the biggest thing is you have to truly love, you have to love what you do. Like, you have to love the work process. You have to love to hit. You have to love to do defense. And it can't come from your parents, your grandparents, you know, outside people. It has to come from within your heart. Because that's what I've kind of noticed, like with girls I played on with in travel ball teams and stuff like that. A lot of the reason they were still playing was because their parents wanted them to still play, if that makes sense. So I was always the kid like, "Hey, Dad, can we go hit? You know, hey, can we go take ground balls?" He'd be like, "Fine, sure." So I think that was one of the biggest things for me, and I know probably what you guys are thinking, like it's a lot. Like, to get where I am today, like you have to do a lot of work, and I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it or anything like that. Like, I worked extremely hard, hitting 4, 5, 6 days a week, even during basketball season when I played in high school. But the whole burnout, I kind of want to talk about the burnout part of it, because I definitely experienced it, and I've definitely like overcome it a little bit. It can be a lot, because I'm sure if you guys play other sports or if you don't play other sports, it can be a lot sometimes. So I think what's essential for me and what kind of changed for me is on like rest days or like days you're not doing softball, do stuff that's completely different from softball. Do your favorite hobbies. So like kind of like what I like to do, I like to shop, unfortunately. It's a bad habit of mine, but I love to shop. So I get in my car and I go to Lulu. Not a good habit, but it takes my mind off of softball for a little bit. I like to take my dog on walks. I have a golden retriever named Jack. He's mine, actually. So I like to take him on walks, do stuff with him. I like to read. I like to find new books to read. And another thing I like to do is try like new dinner recipes I find on TikTok. So just find stuff that you truly want to do that's outside of softball. And I think that's a big reason that I've avoided burnout along the way. And then another thing, so during travel ball, it can be really, really long, like in grueling seasons. So right after like the season's done, take a couple weeks off, take 2 to 3 weeks off, do what a normal person does. Do what a kid your age does, go hang out with your friends, because I'm sure that there's a lot of times like where you want to hang out with your friends, but you have softball. So go do that. So I always had like something planned towards the end of my season, and I made sure that I got to do that. So that also avoided burnout, because I got to look forward to doing that, because not every day you're going to wake up and you want to do softball. That's just not the case. I mean, I wish that was the case for me. It'd be a lot easier, but I don't think that's the case for everyone. So that's kind of how I would avoid burnout in a way. So
I'm so glad you mentioned burnout. Like, I wasn't even planning on bringing that up, but like so many of us have experienced or come close to it in pursuit of like anything. Like, and I guess all of us play softball, but like we have other, areas of our life that I think that's really good feedback to learn from, is like, you got to know who you are outside of the game. Because I know a lot of people, some of you have been injured before, and like it's a really grueling time when you're injured because you're like, oh my gosh, we don't have softball. What do I do? We all experience COVID. Like the reason why I got out of college coaching to coach you guys mostly is like because you guys needed, something to do, an outlet. Like when you couldn't go practice or play softball with your friends, like what did we have? And like we had Zoom. So this is kind of where this all started. So
Yeah.
understand, like there are things out there that you probably would be interested in, but you don't know unless you try. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's like go to the movies, like go shopping, ask your mom and dad before you go do that.
Yes.
And use their money, I'm sure. But I think that's really, really, really good advice here, and I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I also, when I would take those couple weeks off towards the end of the season, one, you don't lose any skill or ability. I think also in that aspect, you build your mindset in a way. You may not be building your physical tool set, but you're building your mental tool set.
Mhm.
Because for me, I had to like, Erin, you're not gonna go hit today. Like, take the time off. Because that's kind of how my brain is wired. But at the end of those 2 to 3 weeks, or at the end of that rest day, I find myself like actively like looking forward to the next coming weeks, or to the next season of softball, or to the next day of practice, or hitting with my dad or whatnot. So that's what kind of I look forward to, because I get excited when that feeling comes. Like I want to go hit. So
Mhm. Yeah, you got to be away from it in order to miss it.
correct. Yeah.
I love that. Didn't you go to Florida for like your spring for Christmas break too? Little
I
sunshine.
did. Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing. Me and my family went to Christmas break for like 4 or 5 days right before I came back to school. Um, and I still did softball, obviously, because I can't just skip out there because the season's coming up. But yeah, I found ways, kind of going back to the other part. Um, Me and my dad I searched for hitting cages when I was down in Florida. Obviously in your guys' shoes, it's not that deep. I'm in college softball, so I have to stay at the top of the game if I want to be elite. So I found cages to go hit at. We found a field to go field at, but I still enjoyed my family time while I was there and got to enjoy the decently warm sun. It wasn't amazing, but
Wasn't
it
too
was
bad.
warmer than Indiana for sure.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
I remember I would go to Florida on like our spring break, and I think it's a Midwest thing. Everybody goes to Florida for
Oh
spring break.
yeah.
But I remember like my dad and I would bring a glove, sometimes a bat, and we
Mhm.
would just like he would throw me balls. I would dive on the sand just to
Oh
like,
yeah.
and it's like it's fun. Like we made training fun
Yes.
when I was younger. And like obviously, like you, like as you get older, as you have these goals to play in college, then it's gonna start getting a little bit more serious. Like, hey, we're gonna
Exactly.
actually train for an hour or two, even though we're on vacation. But
Mhm.
like there's even ways to just like have fun. You can play paddleball, like you could
Yeah,
just do
exactly.
athletic things, just like understand it's meant to be fun at a young age. As
Mhm.
you get older, like yes, it's gonna get a little bit more um intense when it comes to training, but I love that. I love that you find a way to rest and relax, but you also like know when to put the work in. So that's
Mhm.
really good stuff. All right, can we talk about hitting now?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, I've been like dying to ask you hitting questions. So, Erin, you guys, you would classify yourself as a power hitter,
Mhm.
probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure we heard it from you. But yeah, she
Uh,
hits a lot of home runs. She likes to do that. But that didn't happen overnight. So I know you mentioned that you used to hit, like this was in high school, like probably 4 to 6 times a week, closer to six. Um, can you take us through not only like how often you train, but like how did you train? Like, did you do the same thing every day? Did you mix it
mhm.
up? Did it depend on what areas of your game you were working on? Like, take as much time as you need here. Take us through that training and what it was like when you started taking it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. So for me, because I had a pretty busy week during the winter season. So like the season we're in now, I played basketball in high school, so I like to plan out my schedule. My hitting coach was my dad, so I was pretty fortunate to have that. But along the way, I've met some other coaches, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But so in the winter season, I like to plan out my schedule like a week in advance. So I like to plan the days that I'm gonna hit. So my dad also knows when I'm gonna hit, because he also has a life. I plan the days that I'm gonna hit, and I'm not just hitting to hit when I go. I have Me and my dad discuss when we get into the cage what our intention's going to be. So whether it's we're going to focus more on mechanics that day, or we're going to focus more on, hit for power or bat speed, or we're going to focus on situationals. So I tried to mix it up a lot, but we had to learn that. Like, that was not how it was, that's not how it's always been. We went through a learning curve because we probably started hitting together when I was like 12, maybe, like seriously started to hit together. And me and him went through a big learning curve. So if you and your dad are hitting together and your dad's your hitting coach or your mom's your hitting coach, and you get frustrated with them sometimes, trust me, me and my dad went through like a huge learning curve together. And sometimes it was not all that great. So we had to learn together. But anyway, so a big thing for me and my dad was we always wanted to practice under pressure. And it's kind of hard to do that in a cage setting when you're not around other teammates or coaches or anything like that. So we like to practice under pressure with an elevated heartbeat. So I would do, just for an example, like I'd start to hit off the tee, do all my drills that I do, and then I would start to do like jumping jacks, push-ups, anything that would get my heart rate elevated. And I would start to hit. And that led to another aspect of the game that was a huge, probably one of the biggest deals still today to me is breathing. Breathing is a huge thing for me. Learning how to control your breath. There's this thing called heart math. Do you know what heart math is, Ashley?
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so Coach Lawson actually talked about it to me because she could tell that even in travel ball, like I was not an anxious wreck, but like I would get really jittery and I wouldn't know how to calm myself down. But it's just like a heart rate monitor where you kind of breathe with it, but we can talk about that later. So that really helped me, learning how to understand how to control my breathing, not just like in game, but also once I would elevate my heartbeat in practice, with my dad, like that would help me a ton. Another thing is we learned along the way, starting out, we would probably be in there for like an hour 15 minutes, like hitting, and I'd get in like 300 cuts. And we noticed towards the end, I would like start to deteriorate along the way, and I was not getting any better. So we noticed that taking 1,000,000 cuts is not it. And I want to preach that to you all, because you think I have to take 500 swings a day or whatever the case is. That's not the case. It's quantity over quality, or quality over quantity. Sorry, quality over quantity.
You knew what you meant.
Yeah. So that is one of the biggest things that we learned along the way, and I want to preach that to you guys. So yeah.
So give me an example. I'm just super interested in the breathing part.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, are you doing like burpees and then you're taking cuts like under pressure? Or like, can you give like an example of one of those drills that you and your dad would do to like elevate the heart rate, but also like perform?
Yeah. So he would call out a situation. So runners on second and third, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning, you guys are losing by 2 runs. So I'd get down and I would do 5 burpees or whatnot, 5 squat jumps. And then I'd get up, and that's when the breathing piece comes in. And I'd have to, do my routine with my breathing. I developed a routine with my breathing, and then I would step in the box and go. It wasn't easy at first because I didn't know how to control my breathing at first. But then once we learned along the way how to do it, it made a huge difference, like in practice and in games, especially in games. My sophomore year of high school was my breakout season, I think, and that's when I started to breathe a lot. So I don't know if that has any correlation, but yeah.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure it does. So like, you don't have to give like specific details because you probably can do this without thinking, like with your breath work, because you've done it probably hundreds of thousands of times at this point, with your breath and learning yourself.
Yeah.
But is it a matter of just like intentionally slowing it down? Is it like having an internal focus? Like, what would you lean that towards? I'm just genuinely curious, and I think some more people might be too.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's actually just slowing my heartbeat down. I'll give an example. Today we were scrimmaging. It was our blue versus white team, and there was a runner on second and third. I could feel I think I took the first pitch strike, swung at a pitch over my head, so I was down 0-2, and we were losing by a run in the scrimmage. So I could feel my heartbeat. Like, I was like, "Come on, Erin!" Like, so I stepped out of the box, like slowed myself down, slowed my breathing down, stepped back in, and then I worked to a 3-2 count, and I got walked. So I think without that and without being able to slow my heartbeat down, I would have swung on a pitch out of the zone, wouldn't have had a good at bat with runners in scoring position. So just for that example, I think it slows me down, but it also, at the end of my breathing, it like is like that internal like switch in my head, like, okay, focus. So I think it's a little mixture of both.
That's so awesome. I just
Yeah.
want to encourage you guys, if you guys have specific questions, like as she's talking about breathing, or we're going to get into mental game in a second, but if you have specific questions that you're like, I want Erin to answer this question, write them in the chat box, and I'll give you guys an opportunity to either ask your question in person, or we'll just read it through the chat. I know some of you guys would rather me read it, and that's totally fine. But like, Erin loves talking about this stuff, and like,
Yes.
she's here to answer your questions. And I know I'm asking so many questions, and I don't want to steal this time from you. So go ahead and write any questions that you might have in the chat. And at the end, I'll even like open it up for you guys to specifically ask Erin your questions too. And you could ask her anything, like, what's your favorite color? Like, that's fun too. Get to know Erin a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on hitting that you feel like, a youth athlete should know, in regards to maybe owning their swing, learning themselves, and to become ultimately the best hitter they can?
Yeah. I think along the way, you have to understand that there's going to be highs and lows. Um, and you have to be okay with that. One of my like mantras for myself is trust the process. And it has been. My dad's preached that to me since I was young, and I think that's one of the best things for me. There are days where it's just not gonna click for you. Like, you're gonna get in the cage and you're gonna know the second like you take your first cut, and it's like a rollover ground ball to the shortstop. You're gonna feel it, but you have to understand that some days your body just isn't gonna work the way you want it to work. Um, Especially as you get older. As you get younger, your body's still pretty good. You don't have to warm up as much. But anyway, you have to understand that you're not going to be your best on every single day that you hit. There's going to be days where you're really good, and there's going to be days where you're not very good. But you have to be okay with that, and you have to, in the days where it's not clicking, you have to have the mental awareness to like give yourself a break. Like, be extra conscious of your breathing. Focus more on where you want to hit the ball, not so much mechanically. That's one of the biggest things for me. Was I focused a lot on mechanics when I was younger, and I wish I would have focused a little bit more on like vision, like actually seeing the ball and knowing where I want to hit the ball and knowing my barrel angle and stuff like that. I think I focused a little bit too much on mechanics, and I think that caused some of my downfalls sometimes, because I was focused too much on that instead of external goals instead of internal. But yeah, understand that this is all a huge process, and if you want to play in college, if you don't, totally cool. Keep grinding out, keep playing, have fun. But if you do want to play in college, if that's your dream one day, understand that not every day is going to be great. But you have to go into the cage with the mindset that you are going to be great, even if you aren't. You just have to grind through it. It's a grind sometimes, but it's worth it, I promise. So
can we talk about the word grind for a second? So you were talking about how there were days where you realized this through error, like that you were
Mhm.
just, you kept hitting, and all of a sudden, like, your mechanics weren't as good, and you were getting way too exhausted, and then like you were working so much on quality that like the quantity, or sorry, I did it too. You were
Yeah.
focused so much on quantity that the quality started to go down.
Hmm.
That a day, like if that happens to us, like, do you encourage, hey, just call it a day? Like when that happens, like, is that okay? Or do you want us to like keep hitting until we get it? It's like that tough balance.
So when I was young, I would keep hitting until I got it. But
Okay.
now, older, wiser, more mature Erin, and I started to do this towards more like now and towards the end of my high school career is if it wasn't my day, I would try to end on a few like hard shots through the middle, just that I know would like potentially be hits, and I would call it a day. I would try
Mhm.
to end on at least one good one, um, and then call it a day. So yeah, that's kind of what I would do. I wouldn't keep going though. Younger Erin would have kept doing that, and then it would have just kept going downhill, and then your dad would have keep getting more mad at you, and then it was just not a good process. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But yeah,
Amazing. Okay, so we're getting a bunch of questions. Are you ready to start answering?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Willow. Hi, Willow. I love your headphones.
Hi,
Um,
Willow.
she asked, what does burnout mean in softball? What is that?
So burnout is when you kind of start to like not want to play softball, like not want to do it anymore. So it's when you get super tired and you don't want to, go hit or go play. You'd rather do something else. Kind of a better way to put that. But it's just when you start to get tired of it, pretty much, and you don't want to do it anymore. Um, you think that's close enough, Ashley?
Yeah, I would just like piggyback on that and say, I've worked with a lot of hitters in person that like you could tell that they're starting to dislike the game.
Hmm.
And it's not like them to dislike the game because they've always loved it and they've poured everything into it, but they get to the point where they dislike it and they don't want to work anymore. And like my encouragement was always, okay, like take some weeks off, like literally take time off. And if they're in the
Hmm.
middle of the season, just be like, don't even practice. Like, because if you don't like it or love it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So like if you find yourself hating it, I had a girl take an entire year off of softball because she had all this pressure to like play in college and it was just like too much. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. And so she took a year off and then she missed it and she came back and of course, she was a little rusty at first, but like she didn't even get that much, like she didn't lose a lot of her talent in a
Yeah.
year and she came back and she ended up being one of the best players in the state. So
Hmm.
like burnout is when you like overdo it.
Hmm.
And I think all of us have touched it maybe before if we've ever been after something big, but burnout it's common. But if you love the game and you're all of a sudden not loving the game, then you could be kind of close to it. So key is, like Erin said, take some time off.
Yep.
Like she
Do it.
said, you're not going to get worse in a week or two or even three, really.
Correct.
Um, yeah, your skills, you've worked years on your skills. They're not just going to go away in a week.
Yep.
So,
And honestly, if you truly like you may not feel it in the moment you're feeling burnout, but if you truly like deep down love softball and you take the time off, you're gonna come back to it, in my opinion. So
yeah. Okay, good question, Willow. We have so many questions. You guys are rocking it. Erin, what's your breathing exercise? Can you give us like an idea? You got a question, Ireland.
yeah, so when I started doing this in high school. It's called I really got into it. It's called heart math. It's a little sensor. I'm sure you can get it online or something like that. But tried to do it every night before I went to sleep. Um, but basically you clip it. It's not like I don't the app, you download an app for it and it kind of like helps you do it, guides you along the way. But you clip it to your ear and then you clip it to like your shirt or something like that and you do it for like 10 or 15 minutes and I did it every night when I laid in bed. I think starting like my sophomore year of high school. And I also added in the visualization piece to it. So for that 10 minutes, as soon as I laid down in bed, I put it on, close my eyes, and the app kind of guides you to it. And I started to visualize, putting myself in different situations, putting myself in different like games against different pitchers, with runners on base, blah 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 blah. So that's kind of what I did. Sorry, I don't have like a specific exercise, but yeah, kind of like an app that controlled it. So
Awesome. Awesome. I'll try to look it up too and give it to you guys that have questions about it. But like I've never heard of it, but I think that's awesome.
I think I might have it, but I don't know.
I was gonna say you don't have to
I'd have
go
to
through
dig in my drawers, but
work. Okay, London asked, do you want to ask this in person or do you want me to ask it, London? Oh, I got it. Okay. When you were hitting with your dad, were you completely focused on softball or did you also view this as time as bonding? It's a good question.
That's a great question. I think when I was younger, I thought of it more as softball, but kind of as I got older, it was a very big bonding moment for me and my dad. Like when I come home during breaks, like I always look forward to hitting with him, and I truly think that's what made us so close and is what has made us so close. So I think it's two things. I think it's a mixture of both. But definitely when I was younger, I would look at it as it more of softball, and now I wish I would have, and partially because of him too. Not to put it all on him, but I think he would look at it a lot like softball as well. So instead of like the bonding moment, so I think you have to have like a mixture of both in a sense. Have fun when you're doing it. If do you hit with your dad? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Do you get frustrated with him sometimes? Yeah, I know. Okay. So I mean, Ashley, I'm sure you hit with your dad too. So
Yeah.
it's a tough thing to do. And it was a big learning curve for us along the way. And we had some really like frustrating like months where we're like, should we find another hitting coach? Like, I don't know if this is working out, but it's a big learning curve. And I think you have the biggest thing for us was he had to learn what he was saying and how he was saying it and how it was affecting me. And I had to learn how to control my self-talk. And, he was not doing it to make me worse. Like he is truly doing it to make me a better softball player and a better human being. So without him, I don't think I'd be anywhere near where I am today. So look at it, London, as like a blessing in disguise. See it as a mixture of both. So
So good.
yeah.
Malia's gonna ask you her question.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about the University of Kentucky?
Oh goodness, there's a lot of things.
Mhm.
For me, so growing up in Bremen, it's a really small town. And then when I came to Lexington, it's kind of just like a big Bremen in a sense. The thing I've noticed about Lexington, like Lexington is where the university is at. Um, it's kind of you have the university and then you have the city of Lexington. And everybody rallies around the University of Kentucky, and that's kind of what I love about it. But it also at the same time, like if you go to like Indiana University, I think, Bloomington, it's literally just the campus. Like that is what Bloomington is. It's just Indiana University, but there's a city outside of the University of Kentucky in Lexington, and that's kind of what I loved about it. I love exploring. I love trying new restaurants here. Like I love like sometimes when I'm like really stressed out, I go on like sunset drives in Lexington and like the hills of Kentucky, and it's beautiful. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I wish I could do it right now, but yeah. So that's kind of my favorite thing, I think.
So good. I'm trying to keep track of all of your questions because there are so many. I think Addie wanted to ask her question. Go ahead, Addie.
What was your favorite position to play?
Shortstop.
Why is that?
Has been and always will be, I think. I tried to do catching when I was younger and I tried to pitch when I was younger, but I was a little wimp when it came to catching, and I think I still would be. So props to all the catchers. I don't know if there's any catchers in this little chat, but y'all are rock stars. It's tough, but shortstops, it's a tough position. So catching, you just have to get a little more dirty, in my opinion. But yeah, shortstop is my position. So
So good. You guys got to watch her. She makes like ESPN top 10 plays all the time. You had one last year, didn't you?
yeah, I did against Georgia.
That was sick. That was so fun. Okay. I'm trying to keep track of who wants to ask their question in person. Offense or defense? Which one do you prefer?
I'm gonna say defense if I'm being honest. I know this is a hitting academy,
I
but
love it. Be honest.
yeah, the thing I love about defense is you don't really have to think that much. I think that's the reason I love it, is because on defense you're kind of just free. Free-minded, you're just being athletic, quite honestly, using your skills, using your physical talent. But hitting is a little more mental, it's a little more of a mindset. You kind of have to think a little bit more. So I think that's the reason I love defense, because don't get me wrong, I love to hit home runs. I love hitting. But when I walk onto the field on defense, I'm like free-minded, like just balling out. So
I'm gonna like hop onto that question and say, how are you able to split like your mindsets between the two? Because I know a lot of people, if they have a bad at bat, they take it to defense. How do you like make sure that doesn't happen?
it's a tough thing to do. I've had to develop like an internal switch. So if I have a really bad at bat, like if I strike out or something like that, I allow myself, because when I strike out, I get pretty mad. I used to get really mad. I've gotten a lot better at it. But I'm pretty quiet. Like I like to internalize like what went wrong. But I like to have like a minute or so. And if I don't have a minute and I'm out on defense, like the switch is flipped. That has been one of the biggest things I've learned. Like my freshman year of college, I was awful at that. Like if I would have a bad at bat, I'd bring it onto the field, and guess what would happen on the field? And make
Errors.
an error. Yes, correct. So like that, in defensively, if I were to make an error and I go back hitting, like the switch has to be flipped. Like it is gone, it's in the past. Like it's always another mantra for me is like next play, next at bat, next pitch. Like it's always the next play. If you did something bad, throw it away, learn from it, move on. Especially in the game, you have to have a really quick mindset flip. So
Good. Presley, all the way in Washington, had a question. How did you separate yourself to get recruited by colleges?
yeah.
It's not hard in Bremen.
It's not hard in Bremen. But on the other hand, it is kind of hard in Bremen because it's hard to get
Correct.
noticed.
You're so right.
Yeah. But I think for me, the way I separated myself was it's kind of cliche, but I worked extremely hard. Like I worked harder than a lot of my teammates. And I feel like that's kind of why I developed at a younger age. I Again, I made my schedule at the beginning of the week, and I held myself accountable to it. My dad held myself accountable to it, and I'd hit like all the time. So I think for me, that was kind of how I separated myself. I had my dad, who's, I would say, an expert in hitting, just as my hitting coach, and that's kind of how I separated myself. I made sure that, I think another thing that kind of separated me was I played another sport. I don't know if you guys play other sports. I hope you do. But I played basketball. I played soccer growing up, but I had to quit that because of fall travel softball. But I played basketball all of middle school, all of high school, and I think for me that kept me in shape. Like honestly, it kept me in really good shape. It made me more athletic. So I think for me that helped a lot, like a tremendous amount. So I think that also helped me. So
Good. I'm gonna say, Macy, I was gonna ask you that same exact question. Macy, do you have any other questions, or do you want to?
Well, mine, it was kind of similar to that, but it's like, how did you make yourself like stick out when getting recruited, like in front of like college coaches?
Yeah. So it's kind of like so at camps, obviously there's camp scenarios, and then there's like when they come and watch you at a game or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily like how I stuck out at a game. I think my talent just kind of took over for itself. That's another road that we can talk about in a little bit if you guys want to. But at camps, if you guys are attending camps, run to the next station, be the first in line, ask questions, don't be shy. Just talk to other people. Don't be like, I was kind of shy when I went to camps, especially when I didn't know anyone, but like make a friend at camp. It makes it a lot easier and it takes the stress off of you. Because I know camps can be kind of stressful. So I think that's kind of what I did at camps to stick out. I made sure like I was always the first in line. And another thing that Coach Lawson says a lot, or my head coach, do things at camp that make you like stick out. So like make diving plays, like dive for balls, like chuck balls, like swing hard, do things that are going to make you stand out and make the coach go like, oh wow, who's that girl? So I think for me that's kind of what I did, was I just tried to be a little extra in a sense. So yeah.
Awesome. Ava's got a question for you.
What other position would you play besides shortstop?
So I played third base a lot in travel ball. What I loved about my travel ball coach is he did not keep us like in the same position for like more than 2 innings, unless it was like in like a championship game or something like that. Like he was moving us around, even if I was the best shortstop. Like he moved me to short, third. I played in the outfield a couple innings, not my best. But he was constantly moving people around and being uncomfortable in different positions. So I played short and third majority of the time. And actually, I played third when I played at the Pan Am Games this past fall with the USA team. So it worked out in the long run, honestly. So yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel. Belle's got a question for you.
Okay, so what is your worst experience like with an umpire calling something that was like atrocious or like making the wrong call?
That's a good question. I actually kind of just experienced that so for our scrimmages, we don't have real umpires come in. We have like a staff member do it. And I don't know if you guys know Kayla Kowalik. She's like one of my best friends. She was a catcher, All-American at UK. And she's been our umpire, and she called a pitch that was not even close to being a strike, and she like admitted it afterwards. But those are one of the things that you cannot control, unfortunately. With 2 strikes, I don't know if you guys know about a 2-strike approach or have developed one. But if you haven't, you definitely should. But on 2 strikes, you have to be ultra focused on your zone and on the umpire zone. And unfortunately, you're not the umpire, so you can't make those calls. It's out of your control. You can't control that. So it's next AB. Like if they're gonna call strike 3, maybe I should have been more aggressive early in the count. So you can take it 2 ways. It's kind of how you put your perspective on it. But don't ever, Coach Lawson says this all the time, don't ever put your at bat in the umpire's hands. So always take control over your at bat. So
good. Do you guys have any other questions? Alexis, I said your question. I'm so sorry, but do you have another question for her? Anybody can ask. I think I got through them all. If I missed one, please do not be shy. Erin's pretty cool. I think you guys pretty much figured out she's not going to bite your head off. So she's kind of easy to talk to. But you guys had really good questions. Like really good. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds if you guys just want to like pop in and ask. Oh, Ireland. Do you want me to ask it or you can ask it? That's a good one.
Do you have like a favorite hitting drill?
I have a lot of favorite hitting drills, unfortunately. I would say I don't know if you guys do this, and you probably don't if you're younger, but as I've gotten older, I'll share 2 of them. So off a front toss, it's called angled front toss. And I wish I could actually physically show you. But your front tosser so you know how your front tosser is usually straight ahead, like a pitcher would be. You're gonna move it off to the side. So like a ball would be like coming into me. This is like, again, you guys are a little bit younger. But if you know what a screwball or a curveball is, so a screwball screws into me. So it's like inside to me. And then so that would kind of work on if you don't have like a hitting machine or something like that. You scoot the front toss screen off to the side and you pitch in. And then working kind of on bat angles, and then I can move it the opposite way. So I'm like looking at it like it's over there. And that would be like a curve ball and it's coming away. It's going on the outside corner. So that's kind of my favorite drill to do off front toss. And then my favorite tee drill is called, you guys know who David Ortiz is? A little bit. I guess I can show it. I have brown sweatpants on, so don't make fun of me. But so basically what you do, so you're standing with feet close together, okay? Your hands and your knee are gonna meet in the middle right here, and all you're working on is your separation. Your separation, it's a slow separation and then an explosive swing. So that's kind of my favorite one to do off the tee. But I wish I could actually show you guys. But yeah, I hope if you have any other questions about it, I can talk further in depth. But yeah.
So what do you like about both of those? Like, what do they help you with?
Yeah, so the David Ortiz one I call it Big Poppy drill. So it's like you're feeling from like small to big. And it's really working on like a slow separation. I think of it like a rubber band connected from my knob to my front foot. So like I'm slowly stretching the rubber band and then it's a big explosive move. So that's kind of what I love about that. And then the angled front toss, the reason I love that so much is because one, it's different from just regular front toss. And I'm also working on my barrel angles. And I wish I would have started working on that when I was a little bit younger. But I didn't really learn that until I got into college. So that's probably my favorite. That's probably why it's my favorite one.
Nice. Did this lead you to want to talk about any other parts of the game? Like we talk about mental game a lot, and like you talked about work, which is like a huge part of it. Are you like a journaler? Have you ever journaled? Do you take notes on yourself? Like, or like, how do you make sure that like mentally you're in check for like big opponents, just any opponents?
For me, I do like to journal. It's kind of a bad habit. Not a bad habit, I guess, but I like to journal when I'm overthinking a lot. I don't do it on a I know. I wish I did it on a consistent like day-to-day basis, but when I'm not performing well in softball or I'm overthinking a lot in softball, I like to just jot it all down on a notebook and kind of pump myself up in a sense. We actually did this really cool thing. We had like a group kind of like leadership meeting with our team, and a group presented, it's this thing called a trust script. And basically what you do is you write down, you get a notebook piece of paper and you jot down like why basically you should trust yourself. So I've worked so hard, like I'm meant to be here, I'm made for the moment, like, and that's kind of what we did, and we had to record it and then put a like hype song behind it in a sense. So that's kind of what we did for like a little mindset thing, and to like pump yourself up before a game or get you in like the right mindset for the game. So yeah, that's kind of another little tidbit. And then to get myself like ready for a game or ready for an at bat, I have to like internally flip a switch. Like I have to be like, okay, get focused. I'll use a bad example. So yesterday we scrimmaged, and during pregame, I was focused, but I wasn't where I should be. Like I was talking to other people a little bit, I was laughing a little bit. And then my first at bat, I struck out looking. I was like, Erin, that's like all on you right there. And I felt like it's because I didn't really flip a switch and I wasn't prepared in a sense. So, and then my next at bat, again, I flipped the switch and I was ready, and I didn't strike out or anything. I got a hit. So it's kind of an example right there. But I have to like internally tell myself, okay, let's get focused. Let's go. So yeah.
Nice. Even the All-Americans gotta like hype themselves up every once in a while.
Exactly.
That's the thing, is like when you watch, I mean, I love watching softball. You guys, like once softball starts coming on TV, like you guys are gonna get so many messages from me in like our group chat about like, hey, Kentucky's playing Florida, or like there's games on, like here, go watch. But like the things that I see with these like elite hitters that gives me goosebumps, you guys, is that like they thoroughly just look like they are enjoying the heck out of themselves on the field. And like the girls that don't look like they're enjoying it most of the time are not performing well. But like the ones that I see that are just like they excel, they're like top of their game, you know, I'm not just saying they're like laughing the whole time, but like you can tell they play the game the right way. they're enjoying themselves, they're enjoying being around their teammates, and like they also have to hype themselves up too, like even under the most pressure. But like one thing that I admire and love about Erin is like you can just tell she loves playing. Like when she makes like a cool play or a teammate makes a cool play, like she is going nuts, like pointing at them, like being all excited. And like Erin's probably getting goosebumps right now because she gets to do that in just a matter of weeks again.
Yes.
But like, can you just like elaborate about, you said you love the game and you have to love it. If you even want to play in college or play at a high level, it's so hard, and I don't want to scare people, but it's so hard that if you don't love it, it's going to be grueling and awful and you're going to hate it.
Correct.
But if you truly love the game and you love, you know, the highs, the lows, all the things, like you kind of play free too. So like, how do you get there? How do you play free, Erin? Like, is it, you said you have like a switch, but like, when is it a good time to smile and laugh and do those fun things? And like, when's a good time to like turn the switch on, you know?
Yeah, so I feel like I have a good balance of like happy, like a good medium to myself. During practices, like I am like serious, I'm intense, but also at the same time, like I like to like laugh, you know. I like saying stupid things to my teammates. I think you have to find a good combination, because if it's serious all the time, that's kind of boring. But I kind of like the serious aspect of it, but for me, like I have to add in some laughter and I have to smile. So I think that's truly like what makes it fun for me is I love being around my teammates. Like I love it. Like I look forward to going to practice every single day. And I think with this year's team especially, we found a good happy medium with that. Like we know when to have fun and we know when it's like time to get serious and it's time to work. So for you guys, like I think have fun with your teammates, especially at this age, like laugh with your teammates, have fun with your teammates. But when it comes down to like game time and you're at bat, like don't be like chatting with your teammate like when you're on deck or like when you're in the hole or something like that. Like that's when it starts to get like dial it in, like it's time to go. And I know during like travel ball days, like when you're on your 5th game of the day, it can be kind of tough. But you have to find a happy medium with that. And I think smiling whenever you can, like smile all the time, even if like fake it till you make it. And kind of when I fake it till I make it, when I'm not doing too hot and I like smile with my teammates, I'm like at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter like if I went 3 for 3 or 0 for 3, like my teammates should not know that at all. Obviously if I go 3 for 3, I'm gonna be pretty happy, but besides the point, if you go 0 for 3, your teammates shouldn't know that. Have a smile on your face, like be the best teammate possible. So
Yeah.
I thrive, like I love being a good teammate. Like, and I used to not, I was very I went internal when I did not do well when I was younger. So, and I've kind of learned that along the way. If I were to be a good teammate, like it takes the stress off me and it takes the internal thoughts out of me. So
I can't agree more with that. There's even a book written on it called like The Energy Bus. And like,
oh my gosh, I just read that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
So what did you think of it?
So actually, we're in subgroups for our teams, and each team got their own book to read. So we read The Energy Bus actually, and we had to give a presentation over it. And the trust script, what I was talking about earlier, another team read that book and they kind of got it from that. So like each team is giving a presentation over their book. But yeah, that book was phenomenal. If you haven't read it, it's really good. It's a really easy read. Our kind of word for that book was like perspective. I don't know if you want me to go into the book, but I loved it. I think you guys, if you have the opportunity, you should definitely read it. So
yeah. So like I do want you to elaborate just a little bit because it has a lot to do with just like the energy you give could either be positive energy or negative energy, and like it affects everything around you. And like they talk about energy vampires. You just want to like elaborate a little bit about maybe because remember when we had you on the podcast, which if you guys haven't listened to that, you should go listen if you like this because even deeper. But like you talked about how you weren't always a very positive, good teammate when you struck out, and like it affected people other than yourself too. So like take us through that and be quick because I mean it's already 8 and I just know you like the book, and I think it's something that you could definitely help us with.
So the book talked about this guy who his marriage was awful, his work was going down the drain, he just got a flat tire and he had to ride the bus to work one day. And that he was like he hated his life pretty much. It was all going down the drain. And he stepped on this bus and the bus driver's name was Joy. And she is this happy-go-lucky, like she's the captain of the bus. And basically, as his car's in the shop, he's had to ride the bus to work every single day. Um, and the people on the bus have like 10 rules of life, I think. 10 rules you should live your life by or something like that. So it basically is what I gather from the book is the people you surround yourself with truly impact your life either in a negative way or in a positive way. So if you have a friend group that is like ultra negative and like is gossiping all the time and talking crap about the coach, talking crap about other girls on the team, like that, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna be the same exact way. But if you have people who are positive and, energetic people and enthusiastic people, optimistic people, that's how you're gonna be. And actually, our high school principal always used to say that. We were always like, "Oh my gosh, he's saying it again." But you truly are who you hang out with. So I think that's kind of what I took away from the book the most. And George turned out like his life changed pretty much. His marriage was fixed. His tire got fixed. His work, he had a better relationship with all his coworkers. So yeah.
It's inspirational. That's so ironic you read that book, but
Yeah.
and Erin, this has been a total blast.